The morning sun crept over the horizon, spreading its golden warmth across the wide Wyoming plains. The wind whispered over the grass, stirring the scent of earth, sage, and distant rain. Out by the rail line, a woman stood alone, her gloved hands clutching a worn suitcase, her eyes searching the open land like she was looking for a piece of herself. She'd lost long ago. Her name was Clara Weston, 42 years old. Her hair touched with silver, though her heart still held the softness of dreams she never gave up on. She had come west as a mail-order bride, answering a letter from a rancher who had promised companionship, a home, and maybe, if the Lord willed it, love. But as she stepped off the train and saw the look on the man's face, the one who'd written her all those kind words, her hopes began to crack like thin ice under a heavy boot. The rancher, Eli Barrett, wasn't cruel, just startled. He'd expected someone younger, someone who could give him a family, maybe fill the emptiness of the ranch with laughter. Clara saw it in his eyes before he said a word. He shuffled awkwardly, hat twisting in his hands, the dust swirling between them. Behind him, a few of his ranch hands watched with curiosity. The silence stretched until Clara finally broke it with a trembling voice. "Mr. Barrett, I came all this way. Your letters said—" "I know what they said," he interrupted softly, his tone filled with something between regret and confusion. "It's just, I didn't realize. They didn't tell me." His words faded. He looked ashamed but didn't move closer. The train whistle shrieked again in the distance, ready to depart. Clara felt her heart collapse. She had left behind everything. Her small boarding house in St. Louis, her job as a seamstress, even her sister's warnings about men who promise more than they mean. Every mile of track that had carried her west had been a prayer for a new beginning. Now it felt like she was being sent back by fate itself. "You mean I'm not what you expected," she said, her voice tight but proud. "I understand." She turned, clutching her letter, the one that had started it all. The one signed, "With Hope," Eli Barrett. She had read it 100 times, memorizing the words. Now they felt like ashes in her hand. The conductor called out, "Train's leaving for St. Louis," and the sound tore through her heart. Eli watched her take a step toward the platform, the weight of what he was doing sinking into him. She wasn't a stranger. She was the woman he'd written to for months, the one who had answered his loneliness with kindness, who had shared stories of quiet evenings, of sunsets and simple meals. She was the voice that had carried him through long, silent nights on the prairie, and now he was letting her walk away because of a number, because of time. She looked over her shoulder once, tears threatening to spill. Eli saw it, and something inside him broke. "Clara," he said, his voice rough as the wind. She stopped, turning slowly. "I ain't proud of myself right now." He stepped closer, his boots crunching against the gravel. "You came all this way, and I treated you like you were a mistake." "You didn't treat me any worse than life already has," she whispered. Her words hit him like a hammer. He'd lost his wife years ago, buried her out behind the cottonwoods. Since then, the ranch had been nothing but dust, cattle, and silence. He'd thought writing those letters was about finding someone to cook for him, keep the house clean, help him manage the land, but standing here, watching Clara's strength and hurt, he realized what he'd really wanted was someone to care for, someone who'd understand the ache in his chest that never quite went away. "I can't ask you to stay," he said quietly. "You deserve better than a man who didn't see your worth right off." Clara nodded, holding back tears. "Then I'll go. The world doesn't stop for one broken heart." She turned to walk away again, the train's steam hissing behind her, but Eli stepped forward, hand out, voice trembling. "Wait." She stopped. "I was wrong," he said. "I don't care how old you are. You got more grace in your eyes than I've seen in a lifetime. I asked for a woman who could bring warmth back into my home. Maybe God sent me one with more years of wisdom than I was smart enough to appreciate." Clara blinked, unsure if she was hearing right. The other men nearby turned away, pretending not to listen. The train whistle screamed again. Eli looked at her, his jaw tight, his eyes wet. "If you still want to stay, don't go. Not yet, just be mine." The platform went quiet. The wind held its breath. Clara's hand trembled on her suitcase. She could have left, gone back east, forgotten this dusty place and the man who had almost broken her spirit. But she saw something honest in his face, something lonely and raw. Maybe it was the same thing that had driven her west to begin with, the hope that two wounded souls might find peace together. Slowly, she set her suitcase down. The sound echoed on the platform like the closing of one life and the beginning of another. "All right, Mr. Barrett," she said softly. "I'll stay, but not because I have nowhere else to go. I'll stay because I think we both need a second chance." He smiled faintly, a rare, real smile that reached his tired eyes. He reached up, brushing away a tear that had escaped down her cheek. "Then let's start fresh. No more letters, just truth." The train rolled away behind them, leaving only the tracks and the sound of the wind through the grass. Clara took a deep breath of the prairie air, tasting dust and freedom all at once. The sun dipped low, painting the horizon in gold. And as Eli led her toward his horse, toward the life she hadn't expected but maybe was meant for, the loneliness in both their hearts began to fade, just a little.